It's Monday morning. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Joseph. How are you, sir?
And I'm very well. I'm up. I'm ready. I'm awake. I'm drinking my coffee. I got the
Already have
sun,
mine.
sun literally shining on my face as usual in this room.
Yeah, it's starting to work good. It's starting to work good.
If it gets too bad, we've already
Yeah,
said,
we already discussed what we're gonna do.
we're gonna stop Cam and just go with our avatars for the
Avatar.
rest of the show. But yeah, so welcome to Monday Morning Quarterback. As per every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 o'clock your time, Mike. We
Several weeks will
basically
be 9 o'clock.
we go around the league for this week will be week 4. Do our top picks game wise. What we think our top 3 games were. I mean, generally, so last week I had top 4 because last week we had a few other better games. But this week I have 3, and then we're going to go over some standings. We can acknowledge some of our picks, but we're not going to. Our standings aren't concrete as far as our picks go because obviously 2 more games have to be played today, so we won't really know
My
our full
picks went
standings.
totally out the. Yeah, my picks went totally out the freaking window.
And the Eagles, hurt even more with their win against San Francisco, which I was a little surprised.
By the way, just to let you all know, the Philadelphia Eagles are in first place in the NFC East with a record of 1-2-1.
Yep. Eagles are now the first place team of the NFC least is what they call them in the NFL right now. It's
sad.
It's sad. It
It's
really
sad.
is. Well, let's get into it. I mean, who else is in the NFC East but our lowly Giants? 0-4. How do you feel about that, Mike?
Let me channel my inner Lieutenant Colonel Frank Slade. They're a bunch of fucking assholes. Oh yeah, hooah! He's playing on that field.
I mean, let's be honest. None of us had the Giants to win this game. When we did our picks last Friday,
We all picked the Rams.
Yeah, we all picked the Rams. I honestly thought I'm actually surprised it was as close as it was. The Giants defense actually showed up a little bit. Their third down defense was a lot better. And Goff didn't look too good either. So I don't want to put it too much on the defense. I think the defense did great. They got to Goff, I think maybe once or twice. But other than that, their offense just looks pathetic. It's every fucking week. And yet again, another game since I believe, what was it? I know it was the week 2. I know it was against the Bears. So not since the second quarter against the Bears have they scored a touchdown. What's up, James?
Jimmy!
So those of you that watch the show, generally on Mondays and of course Fridays when we do our other show, to kind of like, piggyback on the final day of the week where we can all kind of like talk about the games of that week. Because Thursday Night Football, I mean, let's be honest, Thursday Night Football is the only thing that really messes us up as far as our picks and whatever, because it's the start of a new week. So it's confusing, whatever. But anyway, long story short, James is usually with us. He couldn't be on the show, but I'm glad he showed up in the chat. So, James, good morning. And we miss you on the show. But so, yeah, like I said, Giants just can't get in the end zone. Can't score a touchdown. They can't run the ball. Daniel Jones had 45 yards, which was their high. But their running back Gallman actually had 45 yards as well, which I was surprised because I originally wrote Daniel Jones leading rusher for the Giants again. But then I had a look and I actually saw that no, he was actually tied for 45 yards with Gallman.
Yeah, Gallman had that one run for 45 yards.
I was about to say that. Gallman had that one run. You take that one run away, But I don't look. I know a lot of it has to do with the offensive line. I know a lot of it has to do with the fact that Saquon's out. I get it, but they went out. They signed Devonta Freeman.
He got a couple of runs. I mean,
he had
not bad.
No, I know, but the offensive line just cannot produce gaps big enough for these runs. I mean, Goldman obviously found one. So they had one good push, one good separation. But other than that, they just can't do it. And then on the other side of the ball with Daniel Jones throwing, yeah, look, he had the one pick, but that was at the very end of the game. It was, they were driving, time was running out, and he threw a pick, which was actually a really good catch by I forgot who it was. It was Williams by the Rams corner, who dove and caught it at the 5. He basically whatever, and that ended the Giants' drive and that ended the game. But no receiver came close to 50 or well, not came close. No Giant receiver had 50 or more receiving yards.
Let me ask you a question.
And the Rams sacked him 5 times. 5 sacks for the Rams total.
Of course. But let me ask you this. Was it a mistake hiring Jason Garrett as offensive coordinator?
Well, that's the other thing I was just about to say. So I don't know. It's got to be a combination of things. It's got to be a combination.
It's a combination of everything. I mean, you got a rookie coach that doesn't know what he's fucking doing. You got Jason Garrett, who's a fucking idiot. Graham did the defensive coordinator. All right, he had one good game. His defense did something this week, but the last 3 he didn't. I mean, all 3 of them are fucking jerk offs.
Yeah,
I hate Jason Garrett with a passion to begin with, and then this judge is supposed to be under the Belichick and Saban learning tree.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, Dave Gettleman's got to be fired. He's got to go. I know who the Giants should hire as their next GM, but I don't think they're going to do it.
Well, who do you think should be the next GM?
I'll give you a hint. You can buy it in a can.
Oh, really? He's even an option?
Who?
Tuna?
I would see if Bill Parcells would be interested.
I didn't even know.
I would really see Bill Parcells as a general manager of this team.
Well, I mean, it would be nice to have Parcells back in some aspect for the Giants, but is Parcells a GM for any team now?
I don't think he is.
Oh. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you hire somebody.
We can look it up, but
I don't think he is either. I don't know if you hire somebody. I mean, again, I'm not saying Parcells doesn't have experience in the NFL. Obviously he does, but just as far as a general manager goes, look, I'm in agreement with you. I think this is a clear sign Gettleman needs to go. Look, Mike, Joe Judge, this is his first NFL quarterback, head coaching job. So I'm not saying get rid of him right away. I'm not that quick to be like, oh, he's got to get fired or whatever. I think there are worse coaches in the league right now that need to lose their jobs.
I mean, look, we gave McAdoo 3 seasons. We can give this guy 3, at least 2.
I would assume that. I think.
But we need a general manager that has at least half a brain of what he's doing. I mean, between Reeves and Gettleman, I mean, all we got was shit for the last 7, 8 seasons already.
Well, and that's what I was going to. With the exception of Barkley, with the exception of Saquon, you're right. We're not going after the things we need. They're not getting. So again, you can blame the offensive coordinator for his play calls. You can blame the inexperience of the first-time head coach and Joe Judge. But when it comes down to it, it comes down to the pieces and the team that they have to work with. And who's responsible for putting that team on the field. Now, granted,
it's a general manager.
Exactly. Now, but granted, I get it. Barkley went down with a season-ending injury. Shepard's out for a few weeks with the turf toe. We don't know when he's coming back. So, I mean, that's a small piece. He's an average. I think he's a good receiver. He's not like elite. He's not like a Julio Jones and stuff like that. But, when you take any kind of weapon away from a team that's struggling to have some sort of play, they have no playmakers. They don't.
Well, they did, but he was but he was a baby. We had to get rid of him. But
and look
what makes me laugh is the way he played, and we'll get into the Cleveland game in a little while.
Yeah.
But the way he played yesterday, my God, could you imagine if we would have actually still had Odell? with a healthy Saquon with Daniel Jones,
Well, and that's
what
the
that
kind
would
of
have looked
player.
like
That's the kind
if
of player
Odell
Daniel
would have been a
Jones.
grown up.
That's the kind of player Daniel Jones needs. He needs a playmaker like Odell. And I'm saying an athlete with that has Odell's talent, not Odell's head, because he's not all in there. He's still not all in there. He had a breakout game. He had a breakout game in yesterday's win over the Cowboys with the Browns. But just before that,
and we'll cover that in a little bit. But what I'm saying is though, the Giants never really. I mean, except for Plax, and even Plax wasn't a big name.
He wasn't a big name, but let me tell you something. Plax was probably my favorite receiver the Giants ever had. I really love. Oh yeah, definitely. Let me tell you something. The absence of Plaxico Burress in the season after, when he stupidly shot himself,
He shot himself in the foot.
That's what destroyed the Giants' season for well, not. I mean, that happened in right before the playoffs.
A potential repeat.
That literally destroyed, because that team was 12-4, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They went from winning the Super Bowl, and then the following year they were even better. They were predicted to win again. He shot himself, and Eli didn't have that threat anymore, and they ended up losing, I think, the first game to the Eagles. So it's. I would love to have that type of dynamic, that type of because Plax, like you said, he wasn't a big name. I mean, he was known. You know, he wasn't like a Megatron.
Well, he was like what? He was like a number 2 or number 3 in Pittsburgh because Ben had more weapons over there.
Because I think Hines Ward was number 1 back then. Because Hines Ward was his number 2. I think Plaxico actually had more talent. I think he was more athletic than Hines Ward was, but Hines Ward was just like that reliable.
Well, Hines Ward was Hines Ward. That's the whole thing.
Exactly. But I miss Plax. I think Plax was probably one of the best receivers that the Giants had in the last decade or so, and over a decade ago.
But if you look at that, you had Plax. You had
I do like Victor Cruz. I'm not taking anything.
Victor,
yeah.
Right. You had 3 good top receivers, and then all of a sudden everything just. After Victor,
injuries plagued Victor Cruz. Injuries plagued Hakeem Nicks. These were like you said, top receivers, and then you had Odell, who got hurt, but at the same time, most of his troubles came within his own head.
And he still, he kind of sort of does. It's looking like he's calming down this year.
Yeah. Well, he was just talking about how he doesn't think his heart is into it anymore. He doesn't know if the game is fun anymore. He just said that, I think, like a week ago. I know a lot of it had to do with.
Well, it looked like a week later he's having fun because he looked very happy.
He did. Well, I mean, that Browns game, and again, we'll get to it. That Browns game was something out of the ordinary.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was. Many things happened in that game. But look, let's get back to it. I know, and James says this, and I can't disagree with what he says. Danny Jones looked god awful. But at the other aspect of it, you do see these moments, right? You do see these moments by him. He is more. Look, again, we're used to Eli. We've had Eli as our quarterback for about 15 years, right? You would say about 15 years. Like, he came in. I think they broke him in 2004. He wasn't the starter, but I think they brought him in. I know that was when they had Kurt Warner.
Yeah, they sat Warner down and put him in, and that was it.
So he played for about 15 seasons. So for the better part of the last 15 years or so, we had Eli Manning. So Eli Manning did great, but he wasn't mobile by any means.
No, he was just like in the pocket. The most running he did was when he threw that helmet catch to Tyree in the Super Bowl. That was the most he ever ran in a game ever in his life.
But Daniel Jones have shown that he can run out of the pocket. If he gets into any trouble, the guy ran for almost 50 yards.
Yeah, at least that if he gets in trouble, he can go 10, 15 yards, at least try to get you a first down.
James said that Ahmad Bradshaw, was your running back, was great too. Yeah, no. I agree. We had some really good running backs in Giants.
What was it?
Jacobs?
when we had Jacobs, it was Earth, Wind, and Fire. It was like
Brandon Jacobs,
it was
Bradshaw, and what was
who's
the third
guy?
one? Was it Ward? Not Ward. Was it Ward?
I think it was Ward.
Right? Wasn't it Ward?
Because it was Brandon Jacobs, Ahmad Bradshaw,
and I'm pretty sure it was
Jacobs
Ward.
was Earth, Bradshaw was Wind, and I think Ward was Fire.
I'm pretty sure it was Ward.
And then you had, you had three good running backs that could actually, if one needed to sit out, you had somebody as a backup.
Yeah. And then, like I said, we had other great running backs at just being a part of the Giants' history. You got, Tiki Barber, which I love Tiki Barber. I wish he would have been better. I wish he wouldn't have.
Joe Morris in '86. You had
Rodney Hampton.
You had O.J. Jones.
Yeah.
And in '90. We didn't have no slouches. I don't know what happened to the Giants.
Well, that was their
capabilities.
That was their gameplay back then. It was ground and pound.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was a running game. Now this stupid league is bombs away passing.
No, don't get me wrong. Phil Simms can throw the ball. Phil Simms
can throw definitely. He actually has the best. He had the best completion percentage in the Super Bowl history. I
believe Breeze. I think Breeze broke that.
That?
Oh no! Wait, you said a Super Bowl. I think you're right. I think Simms. I don't know if that stands anymore, but I remember when Simms had that. One of the best the best completion percentage, as far as passes go in a Super Bowl.
Right. And that's the whole thing. Where did we think? I don't know. Like I said, between Jerry Reese and this guy, nobody knows how to draft players.
Well, they're not focusing on the main aspects of what is needed. Again, they went out and they got Saquon. Great. But you need an offensive line. It's useless to get a running back and a good quarterback. Now, again, you want Jones to elevate his game. He's going to get better. I don't think he's that bad. Look, us Giants fans are known for bust picks. Not bust picks, but bust quarterbacks. Look at fucking Dave Brown. We had some bad ones before we got Eli. We had some really bad ones. Don't get me wrong. We also had some good ones. And like I just said, we had Sims. Kerry Collins actually had that one good year where we went to the Super Bowl. We lost to the Ravens, but whatever.
Those are the Ravens.
Kurt Warner briefly, but we did have some shitty quarterbacks. So, again, I don't think Daniel Jones is that bad. I just feel like he has nothing to work with. There are times where he needs to fucking get rid of that ball, though. I will say that. He holds on to the ball a little longer than he needs to, and he takes a sack.
He got sacked again yesterday, but he was lucky
he recovered it. Yeah.
He recovered it. So
he's got to hold on to the fucking ball. He's got to make less mistakes. He's got to get out of his own head. But on top of that, look, a lot of things are factors of that. Look, you can't run the ball. So now it's on your shoulders. It's on your shoulders as a quarterback to either make the play and run it yourself or try to make the throw. Now you have none of your receivers, again, like I said earlier, none of your receivers caught the ball from 50 or more yards. The highest, I think, was 48, and that was Slayton. You have no key guys look, and I'm not taking anything away. I'm not saying Slayton's a bad receiver. I'm not taking anything away from the other ones. I'm not taking away anything from their tight end Ingram. It's just, I don't know. I really don't know. And like you said, is it Jason Garrett's fault? I don't know. I don't know what calls he's doing. I don't know what it is, but I'm tired of, it's the same thing. We had this with McAdoo. We had these little dinks and dunks, these swing passes, these little screen passes. That's all you see, and they're not working because your offensive line sucks.
When you're doing those stupid 2-3 yard plays on a 3rd and 5, it doesn't work.
Yeah, James said James just what do you call it? Naming running backs. Dave Meggett was good, but he was a better specialist. He was known
Yeah.
for his like kick returns and punt returns. But Dave Meggett had some speed. I remember Dave Meggett.
That's another thing. We don't have anybody that gets out of the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to Avatar because I'm starting to get the lines on my face.
All right. Well, look, and then that's what we said. Look, you can't win a game if you're not going to go in the end zone. You're not.
No, you can't. I mean, like I said, I think this kid got pressure now because of this whole Danny Dimes thing, and he's just, like I said, it's Danny Dork shit ever since that happened. Oh, Danny Dimes, and even Jones said, he goes, nobody calls me Danny. Look, my name is Daniel. Everybody calls me Daniel. Why you call me Danny? And it's like, oh, what's your nickname? It was like, no, don't. Just because he won 2 games doesn't make him the second coming.
Yeah, no, and not on this team.
I mean, you got to earn that name. I mean, everybody called Eli an Iron Man. You know why they called Eli an Iron Man? Because Eli was a fucking Iron Man.
Yeah, and he deserved his nickname. All right, look, we can sit here. We could talk about the Giants for the whole show, and their problems, their coaching, their play calls, their lack of playmakers, their lack of an offensive line. They can't run the ball other than their quarterback. Or as we said, that one run that Gallman had yesterday. They can't execute anything. The only thing that they had working for them, before the touchdown throw to Cup, was their defense. So
this guy got the coolest fucking name ever, though. Cooper Cup.
Cooper Cup.
That is like the coolest fucking name.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And that was actually a pretty good catch. That was a very good catch. There was some decent catches, some really good catches in the NFL yesterday. That I either saw in highlights or I saw when I was watching the games live. But so that's it. So yesterday's games, some were as expected, and then others weren't. We a lot of us picked the Saints. Me and James picked the Saints to beat the Lions. You went with the Lions, which wasn't a bad call at one point, but the Lions again.
Does that count, though, of losing a double-digit lead, even though if it was in the first quarter?
Yes, for the 6th straight game, which is an NFL record, with 10 points or more of a lead, they lost another game. But I was surprised when I saw the Lions win. I was like, oh shit! It looks like Mike actually made a good pick. But no, but the Saints ended up coming back, so the Saints won that game. You have the Bucs and the Chargers, which we'll go into more in detail. All of us picked the Bucs anyway, so we expected that, but it was a better game than I at least thought it was going to be. Most of us picked the Bengals over the Jaguars. James went with the Jaguars. The Bengals ended up winning. Joe Burrow got his first NFL win as a starter.
Did you notice who the kicker for Jacksonville was yesterday?
No.
Rosas.
Oh, that's right. They got him. Yeah.
It was like I think it's Jacksonville's 4th kicker they got now.
Yeah.
This season.
Yeah.
And it was Rosas. I'm like, I heard his name. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing over there? Because I was wondering where he was because he wasn't with the Giants this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
he did the same. He missed the field goal. Then he made a couple. He missed an extra point. I'm like, typical Rosas.
Now, I think the big surprise of yesterday was the Vikings and Texans game.
That game, I swear, was. I couldn't believe that the Texans played as bad as they did. Again, I'm not saying I never thought the Vikings. I was surprised the Vikings were 0-3 before yesterday's game. I was surprised the Vikings were 0-3, but I was more surprised that the Texans were 0-3. But I figured that, with Deshaun Watson and the Texans defense that they would be able to handle, but no. All of us picked the Texans, and the Vikings ended up edging them out and winning. But and then the other one. So the only game that I thought was a no-brainer, which ended up being a very close game. You went with the Dolphins, but Seattle ended up winning. But Russell Wilson, he got the win.
I think he had a couple of touchdowns, but he finally throws an interception.
Mhm.
But I don't know. What'd you think about that?
I was surprised. I mean,
Was it the weather? Because I heard the weather was supposed to be real. I like thunderstorms and stuff like that in Miami. I don't know what the weather was during the game time, but it looked like it was a sloppy game.
well, I watched the highlights. I mean, it wasn't that bad of a game. Um, every time Miami got down inside where they could score,
Yeah,
Seattle on third down on third downs yesterday were amazing. The defense was amazing on third downs.
okay.
Because every time that Fitzpatrick got him like in scoring position for five, and it was just after every single time, it was 5 kicks one after another.
Right.
And then the only touchdown of the game for Miami, of all things, after 5 field goals, Fitzpatrick just said, fuck this, and he just took off and read it himself.
Yeah.
So I mean he scored the only touchdown for Miami. But they didn't look bad. They just couldn't punch it in to get the scores.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. So when I was watching the other games, you see the scores for the other games, and I was surprised about Miami and Seattle. I was like, oh shit, like Miami looked like they were hanging in there. And
well,
at
one time they were only down by 2. It was 15-17.
I know. At one point I was like, oh shit, like what's going on? But yeah, so that was the only game that I was surprised went that was as close as it was because and I guess like I said, you weren't because you picked Miami to win. So obviously you thought Miami was going to play like that or better. But it looks like from what you said, because I honestly didn't watch all of the highlights, that Seattle's defense actually stepped up in this game because they gave up the most points.
Third down alone, they held Miami.
Right.
I mean, to 5 field goals where they should have if Miami would have scored twice, they'll win the game. It would have been a totally different scenario if they would have scored at least 2 out of those 5 times.
Right.
But Seattle's third down defense showed up 5 field goals later, and that's what happened.
And I think the only other game that was really a blowout, because as I said before we got on the air, that the average deficit, the games of yesterday's and last night, if you add them all together, and including Thursday as well, the average deficit was 8.4 points. And with the exception of, I think, 4 games, 3 of them being double-digit leads, or wins, I should say. The Ravens won the Panthers won by 10, and the Browns won by 11. And the Broncos beat the Jets by 9. Other than that, every other game was decided by 8 points or fewer. So
really surprised Carolina won by 10. I was shocked with that one.
Carolina fucking won. I mean, Kyler Murray had 3 touchdowns, but I think 150 yards. He barely threw the ball.
He had the most rushing for the whole team again. I mean that's another thing.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of rushing, because we talked about the Vikings beating the Texans. Cousins didn't look too good. He had 260 yards in the touchdown, but again, Delvin Cook, their running back, they literally just jumped on his back and said, okay, please take us for the win. And Delvin Cook ran for 130 yards with 2 touchdowns. So that's one of the reasons why the Vikings were as successful as they were. Because Deshaun Watson on the other end for the Texans, he threw for 300 yards. He had the 2 touchdowns. But they couldn't win.
But with the Cardinals Panthers game, and you know what though, I always liked Teddy Bridgewater. He just couldn't find a team that he fit in to be a starter.
He had some success with Minnesota, I feel like, right?
Yeah. He had a little bit, but then he ended up going to New Orleans, being the backup for Breeze.
Yeah.
Then I don't know. I think he ended up in. Did he end up in Tampa Bay? But he was the backup over there.
I don't know. Honestly, I didn't follow after. I think after he became the backup to Breeze, at least I know he was a starter at one point for Minnesota. Beyond that, I really didn't follow Teddy. I really didn't.
I mean, I always liked him as a quarterback, but he just couldn't find the right place to fit.
So I do want to go over this really quick because this isn't one of the games that we're going to talk about as far as games of the week. It wasn't my pick at least, but it was close enough to the point where of how they lost. So the Texans, going back to that game, right? So Will Fuller had 108 yards with a touchdown, but he had one of his touchdown catches for 5 yards overturned, which would have made the game 31-20, made the score 31-29 with a minute and 12 to go. And obviously they would have had to go for 2 because they ended up losing 31-23. So they scored the 6 points. He makes a circus catch, catches it with one hand, brings it down, but didn't maintain control. So it was ruled a touchdown at one point, and then it was overturned. And when you look at the replay, it was a good call because he didn't really have full possession of it. But so look, the Texans actually, and I'm just remembering this now because I'm reading my notes. Texans actually almost came back to tie that game. So it happens. It happens. But what else did I say? I said Joe Burrow got his first win. 300 yards, touchdown with 1 interception. And then their running back, Joe Mixon, had 151 yards with 2 touchdowns. And that's what
Joe Mixon actually, I believe, is a rookie.
I think so. I've never, I never heard of him.
Yeah. He's a rookie. He got his first ever NFL touchdown on the reception catch. And then he ran for 2 more.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns. And they only won by 8. So again, another game decided by 1 possession, a touchdown and 2 points. So, what'd you think of? Well, I don't know. I think that you didn't make that as your game of the week, so we'll talk about that. What'd you think about the Colts versus Bears? I picked the Colts. I think James did too. I think you're the only one that picked the. No. I think you and James both picked the Bears.
James went with the Bears too as well.
Yeah, so you and James both picked the Bears. I went with the Colts only because they were the number 1 defense coming into this game. And, and it showed. They, again, their offense didn't really do too good. They had 3 field goals and Rivers had the 1 touchdown. But they won 19-11. And that touchdown came in like what was it? They were down 19. So the Bears were literally down, but 19-3 with a little over a minute to go, like a minute and a half to go. And Foles threw the touchdown. They went for 2. So they pretty much controlled almost the whole game. They were down again. They were down by almost 3 touchdowns. So, what'd you think about that? What'd you think about Nick Foles and the Bears? Because obviously you picked them to win. Were you surprised of how good the Colts are?
I'm surprised how bad the Bears played. Yeah. I mean, I know the Colts are a good team. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, they got Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, but that's the offensive side.
Obviously, getting Phillip Rivers, you're going after. You're trying to get into the playoffs if you're getting Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
But I was just surprised how bad the Bears played in general. I mean, their first 4 possessions was 3 punts and a field goal.
Yep.
I mean, that's not good.
Right. Again, though, you're playing the number 1 defense in football.
Right. But still, I mean, where's this? I mean, but where's it lead now? I mean, now you took out Trubisky.
Yeah.
To play this guy to be the starter.
Right.
He doesn't play that good, even though you're right. They did play the number 1 defense. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But now where do we go next week? Now, does Foles stay in?
I think you stick with Foles. I think you stick with Foles. Look, he did have an interception. He almost threw for 250 yards. He had the touchdown against, again, the better defense of the league. I think you gotta. But here's the other thing though. Now too, I'm looking forward. Their next game is against the Bucs. So now you go from.
Wait, against who? Your audio got screwed up there. Who are they playing?
The Bucs.
Okay.
So now you're going from.
We'll get into the Tampa Bay League in a little bit, but.
So who do you feel more comfortable if you're the Bears coach? Who do you feel more comfortable starting? Nick Foles or Mitch Trubisky against the Buccaneers?
No, I mean, if you put Trubisky in at any time now, I mean, this kid's going to be all fucked up in the head now because it's worse enough he's a head case to begin with. Like he gets these little brain farts during the game.
Yeah.
Now you bench him to put Foles in, and now you're going to go back to Trubisky. Now, if you go back to Trubisky, Trubisky is going to go like, what the hell are you doing here?
I honestly don't think I wouldn't really fault too much of the loss on Nick Foles. So yeah. I really don't think just because you lose a game to, again, the best defense in the league, by 8 points, the defense did a good job of holding the Colts as well. So it's not like, it wasn't a blowout. So I honestly, I don't think it's even a conversation right now. Maybe a conversation a game or two down the line if they don't find any success with Nick Foles. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I just wanted to mention that game because it was a low scoring game, but it was definitely a game to mention. Especially because the Bears were 3-0 at that point, and now both teams are 3-1. And the
Colts, honestly, Tampa had their. You're asking about whether Nick Foles can handle Tampa Bay. I mean, Tampa Bay didn't look that sharp yesterday. I mean, they had a fight to get back there.
It was a battle. It really was. Their defense didn't really hold the Chargers as much as I thought they would. We all picked the Bucs, I believe. We all picked the Bucs, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we went across the board on the Bucs.
We all went across the board. I didn't want to go against Tom Brady, and I'm glad we didn't. Brady threw for like 5 touchdowns, and we'll talk about that more in depth. But I think as far as the offensive side of the Buccaneers go, I think they're going to give Chicago a problem because look what the Falcons did. And I always get this confused. The Bears were one of the games that beat the Falcons, right, and came back.
Yep. Yeah. That was the one where Foles came in the game last week.
I will say this: if you give Tampa Bay a lead against the Bears, they're not going to blow it. I don't think they're. At least I don't think they blow it. I don't.
No.
So.
Do you know what the weird thing is? And I know we're jumping into the Tampa Chargers game now. That kid Herbert, that kid's got a future.
And they have something to think about when Tyrod Taylor comes off the injury list because I don't know when. I don't know.
No, I'm just saying this kid really has a future. Because think about it. In the 3 games he played, he went toe-to-toe with Pat Mahomes and took them to overtime.
Yeah.
And he took Tom Brady to only win by 7.
Yeah.
At home.
Mm-hmm.
That's something. This kid's gonna be something special. Doing the stupid Chris Collins voice cliche. This kid's gonna be something special.
Well, and not only that, he was actually pretty damn accurate as well for a rookie quarterback opposing a guy like Tom Brady and the Buccaneers defense. But so let's go into our I have 3 and I think you have 3 too. What was your number 3 game of the week that you pick?
Tampa Bay Chargers.
Okay, all right. So then we can go right into it.
I mean, like I said, it was a good back and forth. The kid really knows what he's doing out there, and I'm really surprised. He really is showing that he belongs out there. Like I said, Mahomes up against Mahomes took him to overtime, and you had to make Tom Brady at home do a comeback. You're going to be, like I said, you're going to be a future star if you keep doing this.
I agree, and that's why I said if once Tyrod Taylor comes back, do you give him the starting job?
Honestly, I don't know. it's a freak occurrence what happened for him to lose the job. First off,
I mean, don't get me wrong. He didn't look that sharp in the loss against Panthers. We all picked. If I'm not mistaken, we all picked the Chargers over the Panthers. The week before this, and the Panthers ended up beating the Chargers. He didn't look that good there. Again,
yeah,
I'm not gonna rest the loss on his shoulders alone. But
I'm saying, I mean, but 2 out of 3 games. Granted, he lost.
Right?
All
No,
3
I'm
games
not. I'm not debating you
2
on.
out of the 3 of them. I mean, the opposing team had a fight.
Yeah, I'm not debating you on that whatsoever. I think for now, Justin Herbert should be their starter, even with Tyrod Taylor coming back. I agree.
I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not fair that he lost his start. He's going to lose his starting job because of his, the stupid physical trainer for the team collapsed his lungs. And
I know.
Minutes before a game. I mean, but what are you going to do? I mean,
you can't do it. I mean, look what happened with Bledsoe. Bledsoe went down. Brady came in, and that was it. So yeah. Look,
and who drafted Tom Brady? And who drafted Tom Brady? Tuna.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, because that year
I thought the GM though picks the draft picks.
Parcells was head coach and GM of the Patriots when he was there.
So then he does have GM experience. You just answered that question from before. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my number 3 is the Bills and Raiders game. And the reason why I picked that,
that was a good game too.
It was a good game. It was decided only by a touchdown, and that was because the Raiders tried to come back the very last minute. But look, Josh Allen once again.
What a beast. What a fucking beast.
Running the ball, throwing the ball, he just makes some. I mean, he had a couple of questionable ones, but he really makes it look extremely easy. And the way he throws the ball, he's actually fun to watch. And I know I never really got a chance to watch. I don't really get a chance to watch Bills games. I was really happy that it was televised yesterday. I actually watched that game more than I did the Giants.
That was the replacement game for the New England
Chiefs
Kansas City game.
Yeah. And for New York viewers, you had the option to watch the Giants Rams or that. And I watched all of this. So
I think the whole city of Buffalo choked on their chicken wings when they saw him go into the tunnel.
Yeah, I know. He landed hard on his shoulder.
Oh yeah. And he still got the pass off.
Yeah, and he still got the pass. It was just literally just fucking threw it away. Diggs made, and don't get me wrong, it was a high throw. Diggs made that catch possible. He jumped, with pretty much all his vertical might, and ended up catching it or whatever. But I thought it was going to be out for the game. I didn't think it was going to be serious. I was hoping it wasn't going to be serious. But it's his non-throwing arm, but even still. Look.
Now I was watching that when he went into the tunnel. They kept showing the sideline. The backup quarterback is Matt Barkley from USC.
Yeah, they were working out Barkley to
play. And they're sitting with Barkley. They're going over the playbook. When Allen came back out, you saw that face on Barkley, and it wasn't a look of disappointment. It was a look of a sigh of relief, like, thank Christ you're here.
Oh,
He's
man.
like, I don't want to be the one to fuck this up.
Yeah, no, you don't. You don't, because look, 3-0, they were going for 4-0. I get it. But
and he came back and he finished the half, and then he came back out again, and he was
in the first 4 games of the season, he's got 12 touchdown passes, 1 interception, 3 rushing touchdowns, and he's throwing for 71%.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this kid's going to be the MVP this year.
He's definitely.
I said it 2 weeks ago. I'm going to say it now.
Especially if he takes his Bills. Especially if he takes his Bills to the playoffs. If they win the division, and he keeps this up. Now, granted, look, it's only 4 games in the season. We can say this as much as we want now, but a lot of things can change. But I agree with you. If they can continue this on, and they could win the division, Which
I'm telling
might
you right now,
actually.
they're gonna win the division and get a first round bye with Kansas City, no matter
I
what.
mean,
I'm
it's
already
looking
predicting this.
it's looking good for them only because they're at 4-0, right? Patriots got a very tough game tonight. They're going to be playing. The Patriots are going to be playing without Cam. Patriots are going to be playing without their star running back, Sony Michel. So the Patriots are going to be going in there shorthanded. I mean, we already knew the Chiefs. At least we think the Chiefs were going to handle the Patriots regardless. The fact that so that just drops now the Patriots down to 2-2.
I
So
wonder what the betting line is on that game right now, because we were talking about it was 7. I
yeah, it
wonder
can't
what
be
Cam
7
out
now.
now if that thing like jumped up to like 10 or 12.
It can't be 7 now. I'm sure they'll give the Belichick defense, somewhat of the benefit of the doubt, but it can't be 7 now. Not without Cam and not without Sony Michel. I mean, those are your 2 run producers. And like we said, Brian Hoyer is going to get the start. Veteran Brian Hoyer. And look, so Allen has the young Diggs. Diggs is looking phenomenal. And their defense is just as scary, and look, what was it? The Raiders actually were trying to come back. The defense made a forced fumble recovery, right? By Josh Norman, who they just activated from the injured reserve list.
That was some strip he did, though. That punch out.
Yeah, and it was his first game playing for the Bills
because they just there's a touchdown, and the next play right after Allen just drops back, bombs one down, and Oh, by the way, the line on the New England Chiefs game went up from 7 to 10.5.
Okay, makes sense. You said that. You said around 11, so you were right.
Yep.
So yeah, so they got the Bills got the touchdown, right?
To the gambler to figure this shit out.
They make the lead 30-16, right? And then the very next play, they stop 4th and 1. Wait, hold on.
And the funny thing with the Josh Norman thing was, this was his very first game back, and they were going to slowly implement him into the backfield. The guy that was supposed to be working with him I forgot his name, but the guy that was supposed to be switching on and off with him, he got injured during the game,
right?
And then Norman ended up playing the whole game, and he looked good. I mean,
well, Josh Norman's a very good cornerback.
I mean, if you throw out that little vendetta he had with Odell, he always played good. I mean, he just, I can't,
I mean, I hated him when he was on the Redskins. I'll be honest with you. I hated him.
Oh,
I did.
But he didn't look right on the Redskins either. Yeah. I think Carolina kind of did what the Giants did with Odell. They couldn't deal with the baby shit, so they just dumped him anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And he did not fit in with that team.
So I'm just trying to read my notes. So they got the strip, right? Yeah. Fumble recovery. They led to a touchdown. Held them 4th and 1. I think
it was the very next play, wasn't it?
Yeah, very next play. And then 4th because they were in striking distance. Then they held the Raiders to a 4th and 1 with 10 to go in the game. Then another forced fumble recovery with 5:21 to go with the Raiders driving again. So the Raiders had opportunities. They did, and again, they ended up getting close. They ended up making 30-23. But so Allen passed for 288 yards with 2 touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown. And Carr had 311 yards with 2 touchdowns. So Carr didn't do too bad. He didn't have any mistakes. But those fumbles hurt.
Oh, yeah. Fumbles, like you said, fumbles will kill you. Turnovers, whatever, interceptions.
Any turnover, any takeaways usually lead.
I mean, if you can hold them to 3, that's a good thing. But if they're scoring 7 after that,
yeah. What's your number 2? What's your number 2?
Number 2 is James still with us? What was his number 3? Jimmy, you still with us?
He hasn't been saying anything. James, what was your number 3 game of the week? Do you want to tell us or no?
Walk to Orson. Come in, Orson.
Go with your number 2 and let's see if he responds.
Game number 2. I went with Philly and San Francisco.
Okay. Look, that was a good game. So James and I were joking around because it was, and I watched the very beginning of it, and then I'll be honest, I switched to The Walking Dead because it was actually the season finale that they held off. It was just the weirdest thing, anybody who's fans of The Walking Dead know that it usually starts in October. They have like a little recess from December to February, picks up again back in February, same season. And then they usually have the finale like around April. Because of what happened with the pandemic or whatever, I guess they weren't able to they had it shot, but I think it was like, the production, the post-production. So they weren't able to have the finale. So the second to last episode was the finale, the unofficial finale, and they just played now the finale of last season.
Well, a lot of shows are doing that now. Like everybody for the fall premieres now, everything's in November now. Like
most of the fall. Only one show is not going to be playing in. Is going to be doing. I forgot which one it was. I want to say This Is Us. I can't remember what fall show that's happening.
This is no. NBC starting. All the new shows are going to start November 10th. So This Is Us is going to be on the 11th, and then Chicago Wednesday.
So then, what is the one show? Because I watch it, and I'm trying to think of it. Is it Law and Order? One show is going against it. Is going to have it at the end of October. Because, like you said, you're right. Most of the fall debuts are going to be in November.
The only show I saw that was going to start early was going to be The Voice.
I don't think it wasn't.
Because that whole week, no, I looked because the 11th is This Is Us in New Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Wednesday is going to be Chicago Wednesday.
Yeah.
Thursday is going to be Law and Order SVU, followed by Chris Maloney's new show.
No, but that's Maloney's show is
the 13th.
Are you sure? I heard it was on
Positive.
hold.
No. They're going to debut it on the 13th because it's going to intersect with SVU to have Mariska Hargitay and Chris Maloney on one more time together, and then I think it's going to be a mid-season show after that. I don't know why we're talking about primetime stuff during football chat, but whatever. Because you went into your Walking Zombie Dead shit.
Yeah, no, I was just basically saying that I didn't watch the beginning of the game because of I watched The Walking Dead.
Actually, talking about this was more interesting than the San Francisco Philly game anyway.
However, when I did put the game on, dude, it ended up becoming James, because I know James didn't watch it because he was making fun of it. It actually ended up being a good game.
It was. I mean, I watched. Here's James. 3 was Vikings, Texans.
Texans surprised me. Yeah, we talked about that. It wasn't one of my 3 picks, but we did talk about that. Yeah, the Vikings Texans game was actually a pretty good game, and like I said, the Texans almost ended up tying the game, but so yeah, the Sunday Night Football game, man, you're right. Eagles won 25-20.
First place now in the NFC least.
But the first half, dude, the score at the end of the first half was 8-7. It was fucking horrible.
Because I was flipping on and off because I was just like in between doing stuff, and I was just like, okay. And like I was just like clicking away, and I was like, oh, what's the score? And I'm going like, okay, 7-0. All right, let me change this. Oh, okay, 8-7. And then all of a sudden, like I didn't watch. And next thing I know, I turned it back on. This Carson Wentz talking. And I'm like, okay, is he talking about them losing? Let me listen. And all of a sudden he goes, oh, it was a nice comeback that we had for the win. I'm like, the win? I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. Well, they scored 14 points in the fourth quarter. But their touchdowns, so they're both of them. So what happened was you had Mullins, right? Who they pulled. He had the 1 touchdown, but he fumbles the ball. Eagles pick up, capitalize. Then the very next possession, he throws an interception for a pick 6. Dude, there was nobody there. He literally threw it right to the fucking Eagles.
I know my face isn't on, but I'm shaking my head.
So they pull him, they put in Beathard, and Beathard actually led them almost to a comeback. He threw a Hail Mary on a 4th and 10 that almost, I mean, it wasn't going to be caught. There was too many people, too many Eagles in the end zone to cover it. But Kittle's almost came up with it. When Kittle's himself had a monster game. He came back. This was his first game back from the injuries. 183 yards receiving for a touchdown. So Kittle, it was all hit. It was pretty much the total offense for the game.
I had it off for 1 minute, and there was one play where a Collins Wentz was hysterical the way he described it. He said it was two different things going on. He said Mullen had looked like he was playing a basketball game with the layup, and Kittles is doing a pirouette ballerina type, a ballet move.
Mullins.
He said it was the best 2-yard play he ever saw in his life.
Yeah, I caught that too. I remember when Collinsworth said that. But the other thing, though, the only thing that bothered me, only thing that I think Beathard did wrong on the drive where they scored the touchdown is they had to go for 2. Now, if they go for 2 and they get the 2 points, they would have been down only by a field goal. So they wouldn't have had to have gone in the end zone and on that final drive. So when they were on 4th and 10, instead of throwing that Hail Mary, they actually could have kicked a field goal to tie it because their 49ers defense actually stopped the Eagles when they, it was like a minute and change to go after they scored the touchdown because they did it with 2 minutes and 2 seconds left, which was perfect because they had 2 timeouts, then the 2-minute warning when the Eagles had the ball back. So Beathard, for some reason, if you go and I mean, I'm sure you watched the highlights or whatever, but if you watch the highlights again, and I don't know if you caught this, because I remember watching it live, and I think even Chris Collinsworth said it. He threw the ball. He actually could have ran it in himself. There was actually a lane that was created because the Eagles were playing the pass, and he actually, if he just kept the ball and ran it himself, he could have got the 2-point conversion. And if the possession would have played as it did for the next, when the Eagles got the ball, 49ers would have stopped them, drove down the field. They could have at least kicked the field goal to tie it. So that 2-point conversion that was not made is what hurt the 49ers. But yeah. So, and I don't know what they're going to do because Garoppolo, I believe, is still going to be out or inactive for the following week.
Yeah, that high ankle sprain injury is a real pain in the ass to have.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if
Now, what was your number 2 this week?
My number 2 was what we talked about before. It was the Bucks Chargers.
Okay.
Yeah.
James, what was your number 2?
James, what was your number 2 game? So I picked the Bucks and Chargers. Look, they had no Fournette. No tight end Howard. Howard's out for the year now. No Chris Godwin. I think it's Chris, but I'll just say Godwin because I'm not really surprised. I'm not really sure of his first name.
I think you're right. I think his name is Chris
sounds
Godwin.
Right. It sounds Chris Godwin.
It does.
So no Chris Godwin. No problem because Tom Brady. Look, he had the pick 6 in the first quarter. But other than that, he threw for 369 yards with 5 touchdowns, all touchdowns going to a different receiver.
Mike Evans was really on his game, though.
And and the other thing too, Mike Evans is battling an ankle injury, so Mike Evans isn't even 100%.
That's amazing then, because he is really playing. I mean, the last couple of games he has been playing real damn good receiving on there.
Yep. So
even Gronk had a couple catches, I think.
In the first quarter, after the pick 6 or whatever. No, I'm sorry. In the first quarter to score the first game, I think it was the first points, whichever one it was. Herbert threw a 53-yard bomb. You know what I mean? A 53-yard bomb. So, like you said, Herbert, I think he should be his starter going forward. Their starter going forward.
I agree.
20 for 25 for 290 yards and 3 touchdowns. The only reason why he had that 25 and not 24, because on the last play of the game, he threw an interception. Because, they were driving. He was trying to, that was the only mistake he made. The only mistake. And that was the end of the game. And he was their leading rusher with 14 yards. So they had the Chargers had no run game at all. Guyton had the 72 yards with a touchdown. Keenan Allen had that incredible sideline catch. If you didn't catch it on the highlights, you gotta see that catch by Keenan Allen. Just an amazing catch, but just the way he was able to, toe tap on the sidelines to keep to stay in bounds. That was an amazing catch. So Keenan Allen had 62 yards. But the real story again, I know that the Bucs won, and Brady did what Brady does through 5 touchdown passes, all to different receivers. But Justin Herbert again shows that he can sling it with the best of them. And for the second time in 3 games, Brady went without a sack, so he wasn't even touched. So that was another reason why, and at the end of the day, it was only a 38-31 win. I mean, that's just a shootout. It's a good old fashioned.
It was. And James said that Buffalo and Las Vegas was his number 2.
Yeah, that was my number 3, James. I'm agreeing with you. It was definitely one of the better 3 games. And it's easier to pick that one too because we were able to watch that game because I know he watched it live as well. We were talking about it when the game was on. I was flipping through because I am a Giants fan, and it was closer than I thought, so I didn't want to really stray too much from the Giants as well. But I'm glad I got to watch the Buffalo and Raiders game live.
If the San Francisco Philly game didn't have the excitement at the end, I think I would have gave Buffalo and Las Vegas number 3 and moved up Tampa Bay, but.
No, I can see that. I can definitely see that. That's why I wrote the highlights. So I originally had nothing written down for the Sunday Night Football game. I did all these notes before that game. It wasn't until the finale of that game and I saw how close it was and just how good of a game it ended up being that I wrote anything down just so we can talk about it. But it was definitely a good game, just not the whole entire game. I mean, most of the action happened in the fourth quarter.
What about the Ravens and the Redskins yesterday? I mean, I know it was a 14-point blowout, but
but look, Lamar Jackson
did Lamar Jackson bounce back from this, or just beating a bad football team?
I don't know. Look, we knew, and that's why we picked the Ravens to win. We knew the Ravens were going to win. It surprises me that it was a 14-point deficit, not not more. But look, Lamar Jackson, he ran the ball well. He did what he was supposed to do against the Chiefs, I think. And I know the Chiefs have a good defense. The Chiefs are a way better team, the best team probably than the Redskins are, but he looked more like Lamar Jackson. So I will say that. But like you said, is it a bounce back game? Look, it's definitely a bounce back game. I mean, he threw 97 yards the week before. That was his career low. But like it was against Washington. So I don't know. Right. You can call it a bounce back game because they won and he did good, but it was against Washington. So maybe moving forward, I'll tell you right now.
I mean, next week's going to be another bounce back because they're playing the Bengals.
Yeah, they're playing the Bengals. So
I mean, that's going to be.
So it's another game that they have to win, or they should win, I should say.
Yeah, they should win. I mean, are they going to win? We don't know. I mean,
what was your number 1 game?
Cleveland and Dallas.
Yep. I think that's most of our number 1. I don't know, James. I don't know what your number 1 is. If you can say it, if you want now. But since we both have it as number 1, yeah, I'll talk about it with you right now. Let's
do it.
What a game!
What a fucking game!
What a game!
I mean, the Landry Jones pass to Odell was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, Baker, I don't know what is with him, or it was like watching 2 different quarterbacks yesterday because for some reason Baker has that Trubisky type thing.
Yeah.
He has that thing where he'll light up the field and then all of a sudden for like 5 to 10 minutes in a game, he'll just decide to be a dope.
Yeah, because again,
really, James, really?
Yeah, it's number 1. Well, you look.
Yeah, I can see it. I'm just going by what. I mean, I'm just going by what like what the Cleveland and Dallas got. I mean, my God. I mean, for a second there, I was like, when I was seeing the updates of what the score was throughout the day.
Same.
I mean, I was like, somebody call the Texas, like somebody call Walker Texas Ranger because Jerry Jones just got robbed by Dak Prescott.
I was like, so what was it? At one point, going into the fourth quarter, the Cowboys were down 41-14.
27-point lead. And all of a sudden, Dak went batshit crazy.
Yeah, they scored 24 points and cut the lead to 3, 41-38 with 3 minutes and 37 seconds left. So they were only down by 3, and obviously the one thing that hurt them was the sweep to the reverse to Odell Beckham, who ran it for 50 yards for a touchdown. I mean, that was just an insane run.
That was, I mean,
he eluded Aldon Smith. So Aldon Smith almost had him, but I mean, Aldon Smith
and he just broke away.
Yeah, as good as Aldon Smith has been, he's not catching Odell. You're not catching Odell.
I mean, that's the thing. That's what I miss about Odell.
Yeah,
I don't miss the baby shit.
No,
I
but
miss
that talent. That talent is just it's.
And he looked happy for the first time in a long time.
Well, because they're winning. Would you be happy on a Cleveland Browns team that is a fucking miserable team?
I mean, what you're saying that, last week he's saying his heart isn't into it.
A lot of that had to do. I think a lot of that. A lot of that had to do what was going on with the NFL and what was been going on, with one of the teams going down, and he goes, I don't know if I'm into it now. I don't know if I want to play. So again, the Browns had 307 total rushing yards. Almost all of their offense, because Baker had 2 touchdowns, but he only threw for 165. So almost all their offense came via the ground. It was 307 yards, was the most Dallas has ever allowed rushing ever in a game.
Well, Kareem Hunt, he was lighting up the field too with the rushing.
Right, and Kareem Hunt had to take the brunt of the workload because Nick Chubb went down. Their star running back went down with an injury.
What quarter was that? Because Chubb had a good run in the first quarter, too.
I believe the first quarter. I think so. I'm pretty sure it was very earlier in the game.
I'll tell you one thing. I mean, the SEC really is like the AAA of the NFL because you have Landry,
you
got Odell, you got Chubb from Georgia, Landry and Odell from LSU.
Yeah, old college roommates.
I mean, they really have some good talent over there. If Baker could just stop with the dipshit 5 to 10 minutes of stupidity, there's a possibility they can give the Steelers a real problem in the North.
Well, the way the Browns played yesterday was what the teams and what the league and what everybody thought the Browns were going to be.
Expected was supposed to be a year ago,
right? Or 2 years? Wasn't it 2 years ago? The Browns were supposed to be.
Well, you do hire Freddie Kitchens, which was a stupid move to begin with.
Yeah. Okay. But once they got Odell, when they got Landry, they had a few other key. I forgot who else they got around that time, but and of course you got Baker. A lot of people praised and thought the Browns were going to be whatever. And didn't Rex Ryan? What was it? Was it Rex Ryan that called them out last year? Said something about the team.
I think Rex Ryan called him out last year and this year.
Okay, maybe it was the beginning of this year, but even still. So the Browns are and Landry has shown that he can throw the ball. He threw a tight spiral.
That was a bomb.
Yeah, he threw a really good pass to Odell. What was it?
Well, Odell could throw a tight spiral too because he did that with the Giants one time. I think he threw a bomb one time.
I think so too. I think you're right. But Beckham had 73 yards with a touchdown running. And then he had 2 receiving touchdowns for 81 yards. So Odell did it on both sides, running and receiving. And then, like you said, Kareem Hunt had 2 touchdowns and 71 yards. So, but the defense, again, it's the Dallas defense, 149 points allowed in the first 4 games. It's the most they've ever allowed in the first 4 games of the season.
And you know who Dallas is playing next week, right?
Giants.
Yeah, I'd like to see who's. What decision did we make on this?
Oh, God.
Well, to be continued on Friday, but
yeah, but Prescott, look,
Prescott, Dak 502 yards,
he nearly threw for 500 last last week. He leads the league in yards for a quarterback. He's actually above Russell Wilson.
How the hell are you 1-3 with and
he's got like nearly 1,700 yards throwing the ball.
Like I said, how the hell are you 1-3 and you're
because of their defense?
Yards? Yeah, their
defense.
Well, not for nothing. I mean, fucking Zeke coughed one up though when he fumbled on that one play.
That was a bad. So they had the fumble,
and that's when Odell went off and ran that last touchdown in.
And then Prescott had a fumble and an interception.
And the only reason why Zeke turned that ball over, and I watched it, and I watched the highlights, and I showed the replay.
Yeah,
he went down, but he
was on top.
But he ended up in a sitting position on the linebacker's stomach.
He was on top of one of the exactly.
And he never touched. Like his feet was on the ground, but his knees never touched.
Yeah,
and then the ball gets stripped away.
Oh man, well, it's I would have loved to have watched that game in real time. Other than seeing the score changes and then seeing the highlights. But oh man, really good game.
No, that was a good game. I mean, I was going to give them the number one just for Cleveland with the blowout. Can you imagine if they would have won 49-14 with a 35-point victory? I would have gave them the number one just for doing that.
Well, look, I have to say this though, and I'm going to be objective because and I know you shared this. I'm not a Cowboys fan. So I really don't like the Cowboys, and I really don't.
One of us are.
Yeah. But if you're Jerry Jones, and if you're the owner of the team, right?
I'm back.
Welcome back. But if you're Jerry Jones, you're the owner of the team, and if the debate is whether you should sign and give Dak Prescott the money, yes, they are 1-3, but you got to pay the man. Because he is showing that even with deficits, forget about 500 yards. A quarterback can have 500 yards and still lose. Great. But he's leading his team back. One was a comeback win. He almost won another one. Your defense is the problem. And they got to do something. You're the Dallas.
Dallas is actually known for having a very good defense, but now they just I think they focused. See, here's the thing, and this happens with a lot of teams. They focus on one side of the ball, and they forget there's another side sometimes.
Yeah, because you go out, you got Amari Cooper.
And you always go after you go after Amari Cooper, you go after Zeke Elliott, you go after Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Okay, now what are you putting on the other side?
Well, they did put Aldon Smith. So, and then that's what I was trying to.
One guy doesn't make the defense.
I know that, but he's having a comeback year. He hadn't played for 5 years, Aldon Smith. So, but that's only one guy. You're right. The other guys have to step up.
Everybody else is slacking. I mean, you had nobody could have stopped him. Nobody could have stopped Odell on that run.
I mean, come on, it's Odell Beckham.
It's OBJ, but still,
come on. But what happened. So, who do you like now? Obviously, now that we know, because the Chiefs and Patriots didn't play yesterday, so they're going to be playing tonight.
No, I'm not changing my pick.
No, we all picked the Chiefs to win, and
Brian Hoyer is not going to make me change my mind.
Without Cam Newton and without Sony Michel, I don't see it. The Chiefs would have to have a disastrous game. So I was going to say, I think your neighbors are going to be loud. They're going to be loud tonight, dude.
Oh yeah.
And then of course we all got the Packers over the Falcons for tonight's game.
And just so everybody know, that Packer game is going to be an 8:50 start tonight. They actually pushed up the starting time of the game to 8:50 because of the Chiefs game.
Why don't they just fucking start it at 9 o'clock? What is this 8:50 bullshit? What is that? Just start it at 9 o'clock. But and if I'm not mistaken,
I mean, they are playing in Green Bay, so it's an hour difference anyway. It's the Central Time Zone, so it wouldn't make a difference.
I thought that the playoffs. No, I thought the playoffs were going to start today. I could have sworn I said on Friday that they were going to start on the 5th, but they're actually starting tomorrow.
What, baseball?
Yeah.
Where the hell did we go from talking about Monday night?
No, because I don't know. Baseball? I didn't know if maybe the addition of another football game pushed the games to tomorrow.
I mean, could be. I mean, I didn't know.
That's the only reason why I brought that up. No. Whatever.
I might have been wrong. Because you're right. Because then if that would have, you're right. Because that would have knocked out some more viewers.
But now we got one game now Thursday.
I'm definitely going to put on the Chiefs game though today. I want to see how bad.
Yeah, I'm going to watch.
I want to see how bad of a blowout it's going to be.
I mean, yeah, I'm expecting. You can't really go against too much of Belichick's defense, but it's Mahomes, and it's more so of what are the Patriots going to be able to answer with? You know, that's the question. But let's make a quick pick for Thursday night's game. Obviously, that's the start of Week 5. But on Mondays,
Tampa Bay and Chicago.
Tampa Bay. So we got Bucks and Chicago. Are they playing? Where are they playing? In Chicago?
They're good. Yes, they will be playing at Soldier Field.
So you got the Bucks at Bears. Who do you like? And James, I want you to tell us your pick as well. Who do you like, Bucks and Bears? I'm going Bucks. At this point, I don't know. The Bears defense looked pretty good against the Colts. I don't see them stopping. I hope. I don't know as far as injury goes. I don't know if Godwin's not going to be out. I'm sorry, if Godwin's not going to be available and who else is going to be available. But Tom Brady basically showed you that it doesn't matter. So regardless of whether Godwin and Fournette are still out. I know Howard's out because he's out for the year.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go
checking to see if there's if this game's going to even be on TV. Nope, of course not. I think you said after week 3 everything was supposed to go to Fox.
That's what I thought.
Well,
James is going Bears. Bears. I think Nick Foles plays a little bit better than he did.
I think he's going to play a little bit better too, but
because that Colts defense is a very good defense, but the Bucks aren't. They're not.
The defense isn't too shabby either.
They're not too shabby either. That's what I meant to say. That was the word I was actually looking for. Shabby.
That's because they're only a quarter Jewish. You got that right?
No. What does that mean?
The Hanukkah song where he said Harrison Ford's a quarter Jewish, not too shabby.
Oh, how the hell was I supposed to get that from that?
I don't know. It just got. I love being on this show. I'm torn. I don't know who. You know what?
James said Thursday night game is advertised on Fox and NFL, so they're supposed to be played on both.
I'll double check that I'll double check on Thursday because I just checked my TV guide listing on my phone and saying that it's going to be the news. But I'll double check that.
I can't stand the positioning of my window here because
you need a blind.
I do have a blind.
We need a better blind. You know what? Give me Tampa.
You're going to take Tampa too?
I'll go with you. I'll go with the Bucks on this one. I was going to say the Bears, but there's just something, I don't know. I think Brady's going to outdo them.
The Bears haven't really showed much. I mean, they've showed good. I mean, obviously Nick Foles had that huge comeback win in the fourth quarter last week, but I don't know. You know.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm actually looking over some of the games this week. We got some interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, next week Sunday's games look pretty good. Some of them, most of them,
not all,
are,
not all.
no,
I mean, you got the Bills and the Titans playing.
Shit, most of them are like division rivals though too.
Chiefs and Raiders are playing. That's gonna be a good game. The Chiefs and the Raiders.
Right now the only ones that I'm looking at them probably going to be good. Looking ahead, obviously we're going to do our picks for Sunday's game on Friday, but I'm looking at, like you said, Bills Titans, right? I think should be a good game.
Tampa Bay and Chicago is going to be a good game.
Next
Bills
Monday night
is going to be a good game.
Next Monday night, you got Chargers and Saints.
Raiders and Chiefs is going to be a good game, and the Colts and the Browns is going to be a really interesting game.
That should be an interesting game, and that's only because now we get to see what the Browns are. Now you get to see what the Browns are, because now you're not playing. Now you're not playing the defense.
Are you having a Denny Green moment now?
We are what we thought they were. And we let them off the hook. I sent that to James a little while back. I sent the gift.
Did you get the Stephen A thing I sent you with that thing was hilarious. I even posted on my Facebook page.
But yeah, Colts and Browns.
I love seeing Stephen A celebrating after a Cowboys.
He hates the Cowboys. I know. But that's pretty much. I mean, looking forward, and obviously the Thursday night game too, the Bears and Bucks. Looking forward. Not many other games jump out at me.
I just find it funny with sitting here. Normally, Dallas and Giants, whether you're a fan of them or not, would be a game that you would say would be a really good game to watch, and we are not saying anything right now.
No, I mean, the only good thing about that game is that if the Giants win, they'll actually be tied with Dallas for 1-4. But other than that, that's it.
Here's a weird thing, though. You got two NFC East teams playing.
Mm-hmm.
The game's on CBS. The game is not on Fox this week. The Giants and the Cowboys will be on Channel 2.
And I don't know about you, and this is just me. It's personal. I don't know why, but I've always felt this way. I absolutely hate football games broadcasted on CBS. I never liked them. I don't like the commentating for CBS. I love Fox football. I love it.
I don't know. I don't know. I like, you know what? I think Jim Nantz and Tony Romo is a good combination compared to Jim Nantz and Phil Simms.
Look, I honestly have nothing against Romo. I think Romo's funny, and he's a good commentator.
He actually calls the plays before they actually happen.
Right.
I'm surprised he never. I'm going to say Tony Romo, before it's all said and done, he's going to be an NFL head coach one of these days. He is a really intelligent football guy.
Well, knowing Jerry Jones' love affair for him, so he'd probably be the next Cowboys head coach.
That's what they thought this year. They were actually thinking about giving Romo the job this year. Then they went with who is the Cowboys head coach this year?
Mike McCarthy.
Oh, there you go.
Right? I'm almost positive it's Mike McCarthy.
Yeah. It is Mike McCarthy. But
how's that for your first Mike McCarthy? How is that for your first 4 games with the Cowboys? That's horrible.
Really horrible.
Nobody expected that though.
No, nobody did. I mean, everybody thought Dallas was going to go to the Super Bowl this year. Well, that's Dallas fans. They always think they're going to go to the fucking Super Bowl every year.
Yeah, well, because they think they're America's team, but
yeah, they're really not. But it's actually Pittsburgh. Sorry.
And then, of course, you got the
when your team, when your legion of fans follows you to another stadium, and you're actually more of the crowd. You're an America's team. Sorry, Pittsburgh's more America's team than Dallas, because everybody hates Dallas.
Yeah.
But
right.
But I mean, I'd rather have Jim Nantz and Tony Romo than fucking Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
Well, no, but it's not. That's not always so. What is it for the earlier game? But for the earlier games, it's not always Buck and Aikman, isn't it?
Buck and Aikman is the game of the week. Whatever the game of the week is on Fox,
right?
It's Buck and Aikman.
I don't mind.
If it's a Dallas game, Troy Aikman is such a Jerry Jones dick sucker.
Not, but it's not so much the commentating. It's not literally so much the commentating. I just like it production wise. for me. I don't know why. I just always like the music. Like it just
Oh no,
was always.
oh no, the graphics are better. I'm talking about like I like the fact that now Fox has.
Kitty says she doesn't hate Dallas. Eat it. Well, you're one of
Eat what?
like
Eat
5.
what? What am I eating? Are you making me breakfast, Kitty? Am I getting a cheeseburger?
I would
a
love
hot
some
dog?
breakfast
What?
because I haven't
I
gotten a
would love
chance to
some
eat
breakfast.
breakfast
The
yet.
wife gave me a bowl of freaking Frosted Flakes and left for work this morning.
All right,
But you know what though? It was great.
let's so really quick because then we're gonna
but no, real quick though.
yeah.
When you talk about Fox, I liked one thing they did is when they score a touchdown,
Yeah.
they put down the touchdown with the player's character, like a cartoon version of what the player looks like.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool. CBS doesn't do that. They just put touchdown.
CBS doesn't do anything.
Well,
And
who scored the touchdown?
Kitty says poo. She wants you to eat poo.
What kind of poo now? Are we talking dog poo, cat poo, bird poo?
All right, now we're wherever. So our Thursday picks goes as follows. James picks the Bears, and Mike, you and I both picked the Bucks. That's going to be Thursday night. We'll obviously talk more about that game on Friday after it has happened. We'll talk about tonight's games on Friday, and we will go over our actual picks for Sunday and Monday for next week on Friday. But that's been our morning episode of Monday Morning Quarterback. I hope you liked it. Mike, thank you for coming on. James,
always a pleasure.
Hopefully we'll see you Friday, James, and hopefully again we'll see you next Monday as well. If you're available to come on and actually talk about the games from
hopefully the construction will end in the house for him.
Yeah. Hopefully whatever you haven't done in your house get redone, get refixed, remodeled. Got some new things going
hurry
on.
Up.
But we do have, again, looking ahead, we do have some good games on Sunday. Some
Yeah,
but
some look really bad, some look really good.
But that is it. Other than that, yesterday's games, for the most part, were very, very close, very tight. It was hard to pick just 3 games that we liked. But we did. And those are our picks. That was yesterday's games. And look for us on Friday now to talk about tonight's and Thursday night's games.
Yeah, who knows? I might finish 8-7 and 7 this week.
Yeah, so as of now, and again, thank you, Philly, because Philly's the one that fucked it up.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Carson.
As of now, our last week's standings, not including tonight's games, obviously, are 9-4 for me. James is at 7-6, and you're at 6-7.
Who did James pick tonight for the 2 games? Does he got KC?
He definitely has KC. I know that. None of us picked the Patriots.
And then and then tonight,
and we all picked the Packers, dude.
All right, so basically, I'm gonna be the low man on the totem pole with it.
The Packers should easily take the Falcons.
At least I go over 500 for the week.
Or I mean, the Falcons might score like 28 points in the first quarter, and they'll just lose.
And then lose. It might be 232 again. 28-3.
All right, Mike. Well, thank you for coming on again. This has been another episode of Monday Morning Quarterback, episode 3. Again, look for us Friday night, 8 p.m. We'll go into more detail of tonight's games that are going on, and also Thursday night game, along with our picks for Sundays for Week 5. So once again, Monday Morning Quarterback, just your average Joe, Mike DiStefano, and hopefully next week we'll have James Mooney back on and talk some football with us. But it's been a pleasure, and enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your Monday morning.
See you Friday.
All right, I'll see you Friday.